we're going to have the borders, and we're going to have our trade. When we started, I talked about borders. I talked about trade. I'm really good at the trade. I'm really good at the borders. When Paris happened, everybody started saying, we want Trump. The polls came in 60%, 70%, 72%. This is 72% with 17 people running. Now we're down to 6. We got rid of all these people. It's so great. It's so great. But we had 60%, 70%. So in terms of the military, in terms of the border, in terms of all of these things, the economy, I expect. But everything was Trump, 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 except for personality. I didn't do as well on personality. It's true. It's true. And you know what? It's true. Personality was a little lower than the economy. But if you had your choice of having somebody with a wonderful personality but was bad on jobs, bad on the economy, bad on security, bad on the border, bad on the wall, I'll take the guy with the wall. I'll take the guy with the economy, okay? Believe me. And I'm also a nicer guy than many of these people running, that I can tell you. That I can tell you. I've gotten to know them. They actually came up, because we're going to build the wall. Who's going to pay for the wall? Quickly, who's going to pay? So one of these guys running against me, Donald, first of all, you can't build a wall. I said, really? Why can't we? He said, well, I don't know. Can you do that? 15 years ago, they wanted to build a wall, and they couldn't do it because the environmental impact statement for the wall, they couldn't get it approved because there were rodents, snakes, rats, all sorts of stuff in the way. They couldn't get it. They had frogs. They had snails. It's true. Go look. They couldn't get an environmental impact statement approved. Oh, I'm so good at environmental impact statements. Now you have South China Sea. You have China building a massive fortress with massive, massive runways for the biggest military planes in the world. And they've got those excavators. They're not caterpillars, by the way, I have to tell you. And they're digging and they're taking and they're ripping the hell out of that ocean. They're ripping it and ripping and rip. And they're building an island in the South China Sea. And that's going to be a military fortress. And they're not supposed to be doing that, but they have absolutely no respect for our president. They have no respect for our country, so they're doing it. And I said to a friend of mine from China, because actually I do a lot of business with China. They're fine to do business with. I make a lot of money with China. It's very good. If you know what you're doing, you can make a fortune with China. They buy my apartments. I have the biggest bank in the world in one of my buildings in Manhattan in China. Biggest bank in the world, 400 million customers. Think of that. That's more than the people we have in this country. 400 million customers, biggest bank in the world. But I do business with China. So I said to my friend jokingly, I said, when you started excavation, you're building that tremendous island in the middle of the South China Sea. Did you get an environmental impact statement? He said, actually, Donald, no. They came up with the idea on Friday at 4 o'clock, and they started excavation on Saturday morning, okay? True, he said that. He said they came up with it, they started excavation about 3. I mean, we're dealing in a different world, folks. During the debate, the second debate, I love the last debate. Some people said he was too rough, me. I mean, that's better than some of the others that are too weak. But they said Donald was, and others, but I have to say Drudge, who's an amazing guy, Drudge does a poll, Time Magazine, I won every single poll for the debate, right? But no, some people said it wasn't my best, I was too tough. But I got like 7 people coming at me from every side. Am I supposed to be nice? That's the problem with our country. We're too nice. They say tone. Hillary Clinton said, I don't like Donald Trump's tone. I don't like his tone. They're chopping off heads in the Middle East of our people. They're chopping off heads of Christians. They're chopping off heads of everybody. They're drowning people 30 at a time in cages. And she goes, I don't like his tone. So they asked Ted Cruz, who's standing right here. I was always in the center, by the way. He's here, another one's here. I've been in the center every single debate. Nice, right? It's called, no, not easy. Somebody said, that's amazing. Every single debate. I heard Ted's a good debater. I said, he is a good debater, but he can't talk, okay? Bad talker. He's a good debater, bad talker. So he's over here. They asked him about waterboarding. They said, Senator Cruz, what do you think of waterboarding? Oh, I don't want to talk about it. You know, he didn't want to talk about waterboarding because too controversial. And I'm saying to myself, they're chopping off heads. He doesn't want to talk about waterboarding. Then they look at me and they say, what do you think about waterboarding? Now, I didn't poll it. You know, I have more money than all of them put together 25 times, but I don't need a pollster. You know what? These guys do my polling for me. The networks, every day they come out with a new poll. What do you think of Donald Trump's hair? What do you think of his this? What do you think of his that? I mean, I learned more about myself. What do I have to spend money? They spend millions of dollars, the networks, on polling. 2 minutes after it comes out, I get things this thick, things I never even knew about myself. Then they say, how much do you pay your pollster? You get them for free. They do it for free. They say, how much do you pay your pollster, Mr. Trump? I say, nothing. I don't have a pollster. The networks are my pollsters. Every day I get a new poll. I have so much. I'm so busy I can't read them anyway. But I've learned a lot. These guys they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. So Ted Cruz couldn't poll it. So he didn't know how to answer the question. He was mumbling and bumbling. And he goes, well, it's waterboarding. Well, you know, he's thinking it's going to be terrible to say I'm in favor of waterboarding, meaning he's in favor of waterboarding. So he goes, well, I'd like to. You got to see it. You got to see it. Then they say, Mr. Trump. Now I'm thinking to myself, they chop off heads. Not since medieval time, James Foley. Not since medieval times do they chop off heads. Chop off heads. Who the hell ever heard of this? We're in now the worst period of maybe ever. Medieval times, boom. I loved history when I was in high school. And I'd read about medieval times, boom, boom, chop off heads. When was the last time you heard about chopping off heads? Now they chop off heads. Okay, so now they look at me. Mr. Trump, how do you feel about waterboarding? They think I'm going to say, oh, it's a terrible thing. It's so horrible. It's so mean. It's so terrible. In fact, it's supposed to be, you know, the big question is it torture or not? In other words, it's so borderline. It's like your minimal torture. So they said, Mr. Trump, I'd like you to answer the question, how do you feel about waterboarding? I said, I feel great about it. I feel good. I said, I feel great. And then I said something that got me in a minor bit of trouble because it wasn't politically correct. I said, but I think we should go much, much, much further than waterboarding. I said, we have an enemy in the Middle East, ISIS and others, that are chopping off people's head and drowning people in steel cages. They leave them under there for 40 minutes and they pull it up, right? Can you imagine these people when they sit around at night eating whatever they're eating and talking, and they're talking about the United States, that they're actually worried about waterboarding as being a little bit cruel. And these people chop off heads. They must think we are the dumbest and the weakest and the stupidest people on earth. On earth. On earth. You know, I read a story. It's a terrible story, but I'll tell you. Should I tell you or should I not? Early in the century, last century, General Pershing, did you ever hear? Rough guy. And they had a terrorism problem. And there's a whole thing with swine and animals and pigs, and you know the story, okay? They don't like that. And they were having a tremendous problem with terrorism. And by the way, this is something you can read in the history books. Not a lot of history books because they don't like teaching this. And General Pershing was a rough guy. And he sits on his horse and he's very astute, like a ramrod, right? And the year was early 1900s. And this was a terrible problem. They were having terrorism problems just like we do. And he caught 50 terrorists who did tremendous damage and killed many people. And he took the 50 terrorists, and he took 50 men, and he dipped 50 bullets in pig's blood. You heard that, right? He took 50 bullets, and he dipped them in pig's blood. And he had his men load his rifles, and he lined up the 50 people, and they shot 49 of those people. And the 50th person, he said, you go back to your people and you tell them what happened. And for 25 years, there wasn't a problem. Okay? 25 years, there wasn't a problem. All right? So we better start getting tough, and we better start getting vigilant, and we better start using our heads, or we're not going to have a country, folks. We're not going to have a country. So, what? It is. I love this country. That's why I'm doing this. I love this country. We want to keep this country. We want to keep this country. We want to make, look, I'll tell you something. I've been saying something because I've been meeting so many people, millions and millions of people. One of the reporters today, a great reporter, television reporter, said to me, I've been doing this, Mr. Trump, for 20, and he didn't say this on the record, and I wouldn't tell his name, but he said, I've been doing this for 25 years. In 25 years, sir, I have never, ever, ever seen anything like what's happening with you and with your people. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And a great compliment. And I'm the messenger. We're all together. And we're all together. And honestly, when you go to Dallas or when you go to Oklahoma, when you go to New Hampshire, when you go to Iowa, when you go to New York, to any place, the people are unbelievable. And I've been saying this for the last 2 or 3 weeks. When I say make America great again, I'm adding now, and we can make America great again, but I think we can make America greater than ever before. Greater than ever before. We have such incredible potential. No, we have such incredible potential. And I want to see the day when Apple makes its product on our land, not over in China. Because I'm bringing our jobs back from China, folks. We're going to bring them back. We're going to bring our jobs back from Mexico, folks. We're going to have Ford built here. We're not going to have Ford built in Mexico. We're going to bring our jobs back. Vietnam is a new one. We're going to bring our jobs back to this country. We're going to be so proud. I'll tell you what I want. We're going to be so proud. And we're going to have a military that's going to be so advanced and so wonderful. And we're going to buy the right product. We're going to buy the product that the generals want, not that the politicians want. And you're going to remember this evening, and you're going to say in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 1 year, but you're going to say that I was there for an evening where Donald Trump, representing all of us, made a speech, and I voted for Donald Trump the next day. And our country... And our country started winning again. We don't win anymore. Our country started winning again. We started winning with our military. We can't beat ISIS, folks. We can't beat ISIS. We won with our military. We'll knock the hell out of them. We won with our veterans. We're going to take care of our veterans. We won with education. We won with the Second Amendment. We won with the border, and yeah, we're going to have a really strong border. And we're going to have people come into our border. We're going to have people, that big, beautiful door, right through the middle of that wall. But they're going to come in legally. They're going to come in legally. And you're going to remember this evening, and you're going to remember tomorrow, because you have to go out and vote. No matter how you feel, I don't care. It doesn't matter if you think you're not going to make it through the day. You've got to go out and vote tomorrow. I don't want your money. I don't want your money. We want your vote. Got to do it. And you're going to say to yourselves, that was one of the great evenings and one of the great days of your lives, because we're going to make you so proud of your country. You're going to be very proud of your president, but you're going to be so proud of your president. You're going to be so proud of your president, but you're going to be so proud of your country, because we're going to start winning, winning, winning again. We're going to become the smart country, not the country that makes an Iran deal where we give them $150 billion. We're going to become the smart country, and we're going to become a truly, truly great country again. I love you folks. We're going to start winning. We're going to win, win, win. And we're going to make America great again. Thank you, everybody. I love you.